Hey guys, welcome to Bartow Con, where we're going to have an adventure. Hey guys, we're here at Bartow Con in Bartow, Florida, and obviously the amazing heiress to the Dark Knight, Athena Finger, and myself here in Aquaman, and we're getting ready to do a presentation. Well, I'm doing a presentation on adventuring in cosplay, so hope you enjoy it. Something different.
Well, good morning, Bartow Con. Hi guys, I'd like to introduce myself real quick. I am Rick Stafford, aka the True Aquaman, and today's cosplay adventuring presentation is about basically how to use cosplay in ways other than convention and photo shoot. So if you're somebody who likes to dress up, we're going to probably cover some different technique that you might want to use by going out there and living life in the cosplay world other than just coming to convention. So let's get started, shall we? So these are just a few little examples real quick. We'll get into more detail about these, but this is just some examples of things that I did. And we're going to go through a kind of a short history lesson first about my situation and how I got involved with cosplay and how it wound up leading to many different adventures. So with that, let's roll. All right, so let's get into the background of the whole story of how I got into cosplay in the first place. First of all, I wasn't a cosplayer starting off. I didn't start at a young age. I actually got started after a very traumatic event that happened in my life. If you guys are watching the screen right now, you'll see this little boy. This is Christian Richard Stafford. This is when he was about 7 years old, and he developed leukemia. Well, while he was in the hospital battling cancer, he wound up getting involved in watching Star Wars and began to love the Star Wars universe. Well, because of that, for some reason, he decided that what he was going through was his Jedi trial. He believed he was becoming a Jedi and not fighting cancer. Well, I decided to play into that, and I went ahead and turned him into a young Jedi. And I took him and got him dressed up and made him into a young Jedi. He loved space, he loved everything about space, so I played into it by giving him that reality. I went ahead and bought my own Jedi Master outfit, bought my own lightsaber. I started reading books on sword fighting, meditation, thoughtfulness. I went to Buddhist monk temple and actually became a Buddhist monk because that's what George Lucas had used as a reference for the Jedi. So I made myself as much a Jedi Master as I could. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. He passed away and at age 8. But that wasn't the end of his story. So he wanted to go to something that we used to have here in Central Florida called Star Wars Weekend in the worst way. Unfortunately, his cancer never allowed him to go because his white blood counts were never high enough for him to be allowed in public. So I contacted a group known as the 501st, which we have represented here today with the Tampa Bay group. And they decided that they were going to come and visit him before he passed away. Well, that was great. Unfortunately, their timing didn't work out with his life. And he passed away the weekend before they were supposed to come and visit him. So I contacted the 501st and said, guys, you couldn't be there for him in life. Would you be willing to be there for him in death as his honor guard? So they came and they were at the memorial service, and when you walked through to the memorial center, you had to walk through a line of stormtroopers and Jedis, and they made him an official member of the 501st and the Rebel Legion, which was an amazing event. But I thought that was the end of it. Well, at the wake, after the ceremony, the entire group got together and they said, Rick, what you did for your son is exactly what we want within our organization. So, we're going to give you a kit, and you have 3 months to build this kit and meet us in Miami for the opening night of Revenge of the Sith. Now, I wasn't an armor builder. I wasn't a cosplayer. I was just a guy dressing up like a Jedi for my son. So now I had to spend the next 3 months going to Joann's Fabric and hardware stores and burning out Dremel tools and learning how to shape and mold and put on snaps and work with JB Weld and hot gluing my fingers together. More times than I care to mention. But in 3 months, I completed this suit and I showed up in Miami for the opening night of Revenge of the Sith. It was my very first appearance in public in a cosplay. And that was my first adventure in cosplay, was to go to a movie theater and be there for opening night. And it was beyond belief. And it opened my eyes to the potential of what I could do. I saw how many people were entertained by my presence in this outfit. And so from there, I went forward and started doing more and more things. So that led to me returning to the scene of the crime of Hollywood Studios and being part of the parade at Star Wars Weekend. So the one thing that I wanted to take my son to, I now got to be part of. So I was marching in the parade and I had multiple different costumes and I just kept getting more and more cosplay to the point where I think I had at one point 13 different Star Wars related cosplays. So it was an exciting time, and that led to other things. So this was on a local level. Then I wound up getting an invitation to go to New York and march on Times Square. That's the right frame. And I wound up on the front cover of the New York Times, and this photo right here, because I marched on Times Square with the 501st as part of the digital game release of Battlefront 2. There was a big electronics conference and they needed stormtroopers. And I wound up getting selected for that, which again was over the top. Having a big company like LucasArts pay for me to go to New York, put me up in a hotel, bus me around, take me to the Javits Center. Let's just say it was a very surreal weekend. Okay? So that was a couple of days. Well, that was, I thought, the top thing I could ever do. There's nothing more I could do. Well, then Lucasfilm put out another call for the Rose Bowl parade. And they wanted not troopers from the United States, they wanted troopers from around the world. And they were selecting 200 out of the thousands upon thousands of people who were part of the 501st and Rebel Legion. They wanted 200 people. Well, lo and behold, I got picked for that. And I got to meet George Lucas. I got to meet so many incredible people from around the world. And to this day, I am still close and dear friends with many, many, many of these troopers that I met from places like Italy, Mexico, Japan, let's see, what's some of the other places? Belgium, actually Belgium, a lot of Belgium. So, and we're close friends to this day, all because of this event. And by the way, I'm in this back row here on the second company of troopers, and I was seen by millions of people on the Rose Bowl parade. As you know, the Rose Bowl parade gets pumped out internationally. So millions of people got to watch me be part of the Rose Bowl parade that George Lucas was the Grand Marshal for. And it was an incredible experience. But it wasn't what my heart was about. I wasn't about being a show person at the time and being in front of the camera. I was about the children. And because I lost mine, so I decided I was going to give back. And I began doing more and more charity work. And I would visit hospitals. I would be part of special event days where children were involved. I would do Toys for Tots events. I would do civic events. So anytime I had the opportunity to get out there and do charity work in cosplay, I was adventuring out of the norm of just going to a convention or just doing a photo shoot. I was literally helping people out by being there to help bring smiles to those who needed them the most. So working out of the hospital situation was very difficult for me. Working with children who had cancer when I knew my own child had died of cancer was beyond heartbreaking at times. There were many, many times when I was very happy that I had a helmet on, because the tears would be streaming down my face while I'm working with a child in bed with the same cancer that my son had to battle. But I never let it stop me from doing charity work.
All good.
This then led into doing different kind of parades. Again, I'd already done Marching on Times Square. I'd already done Hollywood Studios. I'd already done the Rose Bowl parade. But I brought back to the local area, I started doing holiday parades, any kind of Veterans Day parades. Anytime they wanted superheroes to help bring smiles to the audience, I would be there, and did many different kind of parades in different locations throughout Central Florida. Now, this is where things get a little weirder for cosplay. I'm also an endurance athlete, or used to be. I still try to do things from time to time. But I decided I was going to blend my love of cosplay into my athletic side of things. So, I am a two-time Ironman triathlete. During my second Ironman, I actually brought an 85-pound Ironman suit to the dinner before the event and walked around so all of the other Ironman athletes could do photo shoots with Ironman. Although it's a different type of Ironman, I thought it would be kind of cool. And when I finished my run, as the last part of the last event of an Ironman is a marathon, I ran the marathon with an arc reactor on. So I was Iron Man finishing an Ironman. So I had this lit up arc reactor in my chest during the entire end part of my Ironman. And for those of you who don't know what an Ironman is, you swim 2.5 miles, you get out of the water, you get on a bicycle, you ride that bicycle for 112 miles, you get off the bicycle, and then you go run a marathon. And you have to do that in under 17 hours total. So, and I've done it twice. I won't do a third. Many of you may know what a savage race is, or what they call mud obstacle course races. Well, I ran one over in Tampa, dressed as Aquaman. I did the Tough Mudder as Aquaman. I ran the Disneyland and Disney World half marathon as Jack Sparrow, running as Jack Sparrow. For 13 miles. And I carried a plastic bottle with me that, it was a plastic rum bottle, but inside the bottle was green tea. So, but it looks like rum, so I can chug it and not get thrown off the course. So I've actually brought my cosplay to another adventuring aspect of my life, which was doing endurance events. Well, I got invited to start doing movie premieres. So I became friends with a movie manager, and he's like, hey, you do this cosplay stuff, how about you come and promote movies for me? Dress up in a costume, and we'll do photo ops at the movie theater. So, I would wear my Iron Man for Marvel movies. I would wear, I did James Bond movies. This was from The Kingsman. I did David, the android from Alien. I was doing Assassin's Creed. I did Captain America. I was doing the bad guys from Spider-Man movies. I did Commissioner Gordon for the Batman movie. So I've done a lot of different characters at movie theaters. And the only reward I got was I got to see the movie for free and some popcorn. But it was a different adventure in cosplay that was outside of the convention circuit, which is what most people will do. They'll only wear their costumes in a place like this. I want people to know that you can do so much more outside of just being in a convention or just doing a photo shoot. And again, with the holiday season coming up, holidays are a perfect time for cosplay and adventuring. In fact, this year I'll be a guest again at the Fort Lauderdale Holiday Boat Show, or Boat Parade. And that'll actually be my third time. I did one time with the 501st many years ago, and then last year I was on the main charity float, and this year again I'll be on the main charity float as the celebrity. I do charity work, and a lot of little children may not know who Aquaman is. So I had to basically humble myself and not be Aquaman, but convert one of my older costumes into Mermaid Man, because children would know SpongeBob. They may not know Aquaman, but I knew they would know SpongeBob. And so I wanted to make myself relatable to the children, not about me, it's about the children. So I became Mermaid Man. And then, this is at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida. Those of you who know that place, it's a huge complex. And I get hired to go there every year and be Iron Man for the holidays. So people do photo shoots. So again, it's something outside of the norm, and the holidays are usually a great time to help bring more joy to an event by being in cosplay. Now, this was a unique experience that I got to do. I was invited to be part of a mermaid show at a place called the Rec Bar down in Fort Lauderdale. I happened to know one of the mermaids. She said, hey, we're doing this new show. We would love to have a celebrity character in the water with us. So I had to basically learn how to swim around in my suit in a chlorinated pool. Easier said than done. Your eyes burn, your buoyancy's off. It's really tricky to do because you don't have a way of regulating your buoyancy with the suit. So trying to just swim at a set depth across windows and wave and perform was a lot trickier than I would have expected it to be. But we did it, had a great time, the mermaids had a great time. And again, it wasn't at a convention, and it wasn't for just a standard photo shoot. It was a new adventure for me. So another one of the side projects that I wound up getting involved with were store openings. You would be surprised how many different stores or people will use you because you're a cosplayer for different things. For Batman Day, I would be invited to different comic book stores, and I would be Commissioner Gordon. This young lady here, she's the author of a whole series of books. Well, she wanted to have one of her characters come to life during one of her signings. So I read her book, I used my cosplay skills, and I created the character from her book. There was a new store opening over in the Tampa area, a company called Grunt Style T-shirts. Many of you may even know that brand. Grunt Style was opening a new store. One of the things that I do is I jump out of airplanes for fun. Yes, for fun. And I'm with a group called the Round Canopy Parachute Team, and we dress up in World War II era gear, and we jump out of aircraft. So we put on our outfits and we showed up. Now, again, a lot of these guys who were part of the group, former military and special operations type guys, so it was really a cool group to be around. And these guys all, again, we all put on our outfits, we all go and do different events. And this was kind of a neat one for us, was getting to dress up just to do a store opening. Now, doing all kinds of different promotional events. This is another avenue of it. Being asked to be part of an electronics show. This was at the Science Center. I got to be a character from a Fallout game and walk around to help play. While kids are playing Fallout, the video game, you're walking around being a live version of a character that they're playing right in front of you. I got picked to do this photo shoot here at a drop zone, and then wound up at the logo for the event. So, and this is actually the event I'll be doing at the end of the month. And I'll get into a little bit more detail about this in a minute, because this is going to be kind of a cool one for you guys to keep an eye out for. This was a special operations aquatic event that they did, and they wanted Aquaman there to be kind of their mascot for the event. And these are all 4th Recon Marines and Navy SEALs, and they did an event up in Jacksonville, and they wanted Aquaman to be their mascot for the event. Disney launched a brand new ship a while back. I want to say this is over a decade now. And they had a bunch of us come out. They dressed us up with their stuff, and we basically did this whole pirate event for the launching of one of the Disney ships down at Port Canaveral. Then you had Weird Al Yankovic. I got to perform on stage with Weird Al Yankovic as a Red Guard, and that was an incredible adventure. Again, these are not paid gigs; these were all just for fun. And then this one here was kind of interesting. Does anybody recognize the old man in the middle from behind? Can anybody pick out who that might be? Who is it? It is Stan Lee. And so they had us do security detail for Stan Lee. So I was on security watch to make sure nobody ran up on his car while he was in a parade up in Atlanta at Dragon Con. So again, these are all different, unique adventures. Now, has anybody ever heard of Disney bounding or theme park bounding? Well, theme parks have very strict rules about what you can and can't wear at different theme parks. You can't dress up as Cinderella and go to, but you can look like Cinderella, you can look like a character, as long as you play by their rules. So Disney bounding or theme park bounding, you can go to Universal any day of the week and you'll see people dressed up in their favorite Hogwarts outfit. I like to say I'm a Slytherin alumni, and I'm just coming back to see the school like any other alumni comes back to their college and checks it out. Or the new Star Wars land that's in Hollywood Studios, dressing up as a rebel and walking around, and you get to interact with the actual characters that are paid. And so you're helping do two things. One, you're having a good time being in a character, and two, you're helping to bring more atmosphere to the land itself. So you're not walking around in your Pluto top and Mickey shoe, Crocs. You're looking like a character in the show. And I actually, funny story, true story, me and my buddy, Matt, we left Star Wars Land and we're walking to the front of the park. And we got stopped by a manager from Hollywood Studios and began to get berated for being out of our area. And she went off on us for about three or 4 minutes before she realized that we weren't taking it like we were being scolded, but we were chuckling about it. And then she finally said, "Wait a minute, you guys don't work here, do you?" And we said, no, we don't. She goes, "Well, then props to you, you look like you do." So we blended in pretty well with our outfits, which is, I think, the highest remark you can get when a manager thinks that you work there. So. All right, let's see where we're at here. All right, so this is one of my big adventures. So back in 2020, I had prepared for the better part of 4 years to get ready and hike the Appalachian Trail. So, but I decided I was going to do the Appalachian Trail as Aquaman. So I had made sure all my gear was color specific, that I carried, that I wore the scales, that I had the Aquaman look and logo with me the entire time. And I made it for 1,025 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Well, thank you, thank you. I'm not done yet with it. I still have, I'm about at the halfway point. Plan on going back. My goal is maybe 2025, but what happened was I blew my knee out. I actually tore my meniscus and my MCL on my right knee at mile 750. And then I continued to hike for another 250 miles on a damaged knee. So, luckily I was able, with my strength and therapy ability, I was able to rehab myself and get myself back into the swing of things, and several months after that, started jumping out of airplanes again. So just the power of the mind over the body. Yes, I did have my trident with me at certain times during the trip, which made things even more cool. I got a hold of a couple of hiking buddies while I was on the Appalachian Trail, and every year we would go back and find a new trail. So we then did the Florida Trail in 2021, and we did the Pinhoti Trail in 2022. So I haven't given up hiking, and yes, I do wear the Aquaman outfit every time I go hiking, because I am Aquaman on the Appalachian. So this parlayed into me starting a YouTube channel called Aquaman on the Appalachian. And I think I have like 32 episodes, and it shows my adventures and, and my heart-crushing defeat at the end of the trail, not making it the whole way. But yeah, this was my typical outfit. So I was always Aquaman. I always had the colors on. Even my shoes were green. I mean, my rain gear was orange and green. I made sure every aspect of my cosplay was in my hiking gear. And unlike a lot of the hikers, I shaved every day. So I didn't have the beard of a typical hiker. So they always thought I was a newbie. It's like, you don't have a beard, so you must not have been on the trail long. No, I've been on the trail for 3 months. And you're shaved? Yes, I shaved. Aquaman shaved. Now, Aquaman in the movie is obviously played by a different person, but we won't go in that just yet. So, when I came off the Appalachian Trail, I decided to go back into jumping out of airplanes. I had done it in the past, decided, that's a cool thing to do. And there was a company, or a group, a volunteer group, called the Round Canopy Parachute Team, and it is a 501c charity group run by volunteers, all pretty much former military, special forces, and paratroopers. And I decided I was going to get involved with them. I got my wings again with them, and then they started doing water jumps. And I said, well, I've got to do a water jump. I'm Aquaman. And I said, I will actually do the jump as Aquaman. And so here you see me as Aquaman, getting ready, and I jumped, and I landed in the St. Johns River, just east of Palatka. And I will be doing that again at the end of the month, on the 28th of October. I will be jumping out of a KC-212 military aircraft into the St. Johns River with a bunch of other Navy SEAL, Army Rangers, and Special Forces guys. So that should be a really cool thing channel. So now I have another channel called Aquaman Adventure. So I have two different YouTube channels. One that's dedicated to my hiking abilities and my hiking story, and one that is general things. In fact, I've got my camera running right now, and this is actually going to be the next episode of the Aquaman Adventure. So Bartow Con will be my next adventure that will be posted on YouTube in the near future. Now, this is a little bit of a different spin. Again, this is adventuring with cosplay, but in a totally different way. I got involved in doing movie making, and so I used my cosplay skills to do independent films. Now, I don't produce them, but I add to the production value with my costuming skills. I was in a movie called Bocas that was shot by Jake Estrada and his main character Bocas, and I played the character of Chuck Norris with a buddy of mine who looks just like Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. So this was me being Chuck Norris, and we basically killed a bunch of zombies. It was a bizarre scene. I can't explain the movie very well because it is bizarre in itself, but I was part of that movie. I played another quiet special operations guy in a movie called Better Zed Than Dead, and that was shot over in Tampa. There was a movie being shot through the UCF Film School, and I played an OSS paratrooper right after World War II that jumped into China, and we rode around in a half track shooting at Japanese or Chinese in the wood line. It was a really cool experience that was shot over in Cocoa at the Warbird Museum. I played a Sith apprentice that had a really cool lightsaber setup. I had gauntlets where the lightsabers came out of the back of my wrist, and I fought in a very Seai or Asian dagger fighting style. Very cool. Unfortunately, the director had booked this incredible green screen place that we shot for about 3 months, but he had overlit the entire project and then moved to Texas. He was an aeronautical engineer and got hired by NASA, moved to Texas, and then decided he was going to start doing his editing. And by the time he found out he had overlit it, he had already let go of the studio, so we couldn't pick up the shot. So because it was overlit, you could see through us when he was doing the rotoscoping and putting in the fake background. There was too much green on us, and so we lost the movie. So these are just some stills from all of that work that we put into costuming and acting and stunt fighting and stuff. But again, this was just another way of using my cosplay skills in order to bring cosplay out of the convention and put it into places you wouldn't expect it. And yeah, this is Jason Momoa letting people know that I'm actually the true Aquaman. And you can see how I'm the likeness that they used for the New 52. So that's the majority of this presentation. I'm going to open the floor now up to Q&A. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to make on anything they've seen or anything that they would like to see done or have done in the adventuring versions of cosplay? I have done Star Trek. I have gone up to the neutral zone. I have been up there. I have done photo shoots up there. Again, that's a photo shoot, and that's why it wasn't included, because that was an organized event designed to wear cosplays in a set environment. So that really, although it is kind of a different adventure, had it been a fan film, it would have made it in here. But yes, I have a whole lot of photos from up there. I've been up there twice, but again, those are organized photo shoots and not actual activities outside of photo shoots or cosplay conventions. So, but a great place. And yes, I do have a whole lot of Star Trek outfits too. There are very few genres that I haven't gotten into. Yes, yes.
I'm a Buddhist. My grandmother actually became a nun in 2001. How long did you attend Buddhist temple for?
I did Buddhism for 3 years. My son was sick for 2 years, and I remained and going to the temple in Orlando for another year past that.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of them in Orlando. Like my grandmother used to be part of one of them. There's one that's used for the nuns, the other one's used for the monks and so on.
Right, and in fact, I went as far as I went and did the 3 gem ceremony. I did the full on, they had brought in one of the priests from California, and he had done the entire ceremony.
Yeah. For the monk thing, I feel like also do the cultural thing. You have like one for the Vietnamese monks, one for the Cambodian monks. So what was the main language they spoke to them?
Vietnamese, yes. Orlando is very popular for the Vietnamese because the Navy base used to be there, and during the Vietnam War, many of the sailors had gone there, married wives, and you don't bring the wife back, you bring the family back. So that's why there's areas in Orlando called Little Saigon. There's a huge subsection, and so that's why they have such a large temple there. All right, any other questions, any other comments? No? All right, well, I'd like to thank you guys. This is the first time of me doing this presentation, so hopefully it went well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And again, come see me. I'm in the back with Tina Finger, the granddaughter of the creator of Batman. Please stop by and say hi to us. And if something sparked your interest and you want to talk to me one-on-one, I'll be here all day. So with that, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Thank you so much.